Good evening and welcome to the Sports Locker. Now, if you've been around the Alameda Gardens on a Saturday morning lately, you've probably noticed a group of runners, walkers and a sea of high-vis vests. After years of anticipation, Parkrun has finally landed in Gibraltar and it's already transforming our Saturday mornings. It's more than just a 5K, it's a community movement that's free and inclusive and it's taken over the world. Tonight, we're peeling back the curtain on how it all started. Joining us in the studio is the person who took the lead in bringing this global phenomenon to our local shores. That's Mark Dilo, along with his wife Catherine, and volunteers, husband and wife Phil and Faye Morse. Guys, thank you very much for coming along.
You're welcome.
We'll start with you, Mark. Tell us a bit about that light bulb moment where you kind of thought, you know what, I want to bring Parkrun to Gibraltar.
Well, I got back into running 2.5 years ago, and whilst running in the UK, I had the Gibraltar flag on my arm, and everyone was saying, well, is there a parkrun in Gibraltar? To which I had to answer no. And it that's what started everything off. Looked into the feasibility of it. It's not as easy as it sounds. It's taken us 15 months to get here. Went through the application process, but the hardest bit was trying to find 5K on the rock where we could actually run a park run. And that took, believe it or not, 3 months to figure out. And Alameda Gardens, we were walking around that for months and months, and we finally cracked it, and now we have this route, and everyone loves it.
Yeah, I mean, I've done it. I've worked it myself. I haven't done the course, but I have walked around covering it, and it is a fantastic and intriguing course. We'll get into a little bit about a couple of the obstacles you had to come through to get there. But first, for anyone watching doesn't really know what Parkrun is, Catherine, can you explain a little bit what this global phenomenon is?
Yeah, so Parkrun started in the UK and it's been going for about 20 years or so, and there's literally 20 countries. And the idea of it is that it's meant to be a timed run of 5K every Saturday morning starting at 9 o'clock around the world. And basically it's open to anyone. So it doesn't matter whether you're an elite runner or even just wanting to jog or walk it. All age groups, it's incredibly inclusive. And the other idea is it's not just for obviously the people who are physically exercising, they also encourage people to volunteer. And that's a key part of it. It's very much a community of people just joining the Parkrun family. And it's fantastic that we're now here in Gibraltar.
You all do this out of your own free time, you're all volunteers. I want to touch upon elite runners, because Faye, you're a bit of an elite runner for Gibraltar yourself. You do some ultra marathons and, you know...
I do like a few ultra marathons.
Tell us what attracted you to this kind of fun 5K run on a Saturday morning?
Well, I mean, like you say, I've done quite a few races, and it's really nice to be like on the other side of the fence, essentially, and just the fact that Parkrun is so inclusive, like we've said, you can run it or walk it, to just encourage people to actually push themselves for that distance, which, you know, is challenging for some people who've maybe just started, or, you know, kids come along and also do it. And it's just such a really sort of family and inclusive environment that it's nice to sort of give something back. And it's like a family, really. It's really good fun.
There's different roles that volunteers play. I mean, it's not just standing there with stopwatch, there's barcodes to be scanned as well. Tell us a bit about what Parkrun entails in terms of times and how it all works.
You'd think it would be easy, wouldn't you? Just like someone with a watch and someone with a whistle. But I was amazed at how much goes into it when these guys started peeling back the veneer and showing you what's underneath it. There are apps, not just one app. There's several apps. If you're a volunteer, or if you're a timekeeper, or if you're a participant, or if you're all three, or if you want to take it further and gamify it, there's an app for it. There is a whole host of... You not only have two people on the stopwatch, but you have someone making sure people keep moving when they've finished, people giving out barcodes, people scanning barcodes, people making sure they've been collected, and then marshals, because as Mark said, it's not an easy course. An easy course to navigate, that is, because it's got its twists and turns. So the number of volunteers needed just to get it going, it amazed me. And it's one of those things that over time, I think it's going to become easier for us, but at the moment, it feels a little bit overwhelming. And at the end of the day, you've just got a few people running around a park. So there's a lot of organisation you would never believe.
You mentioned the apps there, and I was quite surprised to know how many people gamify parkrun and how many challenges. I mean, there's
Yeah.
run in a park that starts with the letter A all the way
alphabet
down
challenge
to
is
Z.
a lot of people are doing. Yeah.
Tell us a bit about that fun side of it.
Yeah, so I mean, essentially people are literally finding park runs beginning with these letters. So ours would be G for Gibraltar Botanical Gardens. And there's all kinds. There's the Compass one that we're a part of because we're the furthest south. Is that right? So, yeah, I mean, I've only personally run 2 park runs and volunteered now more times than I've run them. But, you know, many people have completely got the bug. They do it every week. They go all over the world. They're volunteering and they're taking part a lot of the time. And, yeah, it's really, it's amazing, like, how much people are just so into it.
Mark, you've done a fair few. How's your alphabet challenge going?
I've got one left.
Oh, really?
I've got to do a Y. I was actually saving G for last, but Parkrun at the outset said we couldn't name ours Gibraltar. And I fought for it, so I did G in the UK, so I've got to do a Y, and that's not as easy as it sounds. We went to Poland to do a Z, and that just shows you how addictive it is. You end up planning your holiday around where you can get a letter on the globe. So I've run in Australia, New Zealand, and yeah, I guess I've caught the bug.
So when he comes, Catherine home and says, let's go to this place on holidays, your first question always, what parkrun is happening there?
That's exactly right, exactly right. And in fact, last year we did a very interesting road trip. So we flew into Vilnius in Lithuania so that Mark could do the Saturday in Lithuania, in Vilnius. And then we took a road trip all the way up to Latvia and through into Estonia. And we did the Helsinki one the following week on the Saturday, and yeah, so that's the kind of thing that we do.
Now, every parkrun has its challenges setting up. I know you mentioned a few when we started speaking here. Tell us about some of the hurdles you've had to overcome to make it happen.
The biggest one at the outset was convincing Parkrun that we can do this. You go through the application. And that took probably about another 6 months to really the toing and froing to convince them that, yes, we've got the run and yes, we can run it and we can get enough volunteers. The volunteering has really surprised me. I just can't say thank you enough to everyone that's been involved. Last week, I think we had 21, of which 3 had visited Gibraltar just to volunteer. This week, we have 7 people coming from the UK just to volunteer.
Wow. It's hard to get locals to volunteer, let alone people to come from outside.
Yeah, they must have heard. But that's an amazing... and you have to juggle how to best use your volunteers. And at this moment in time, we're learning the ropes. So I can't thank everyone enough, but I think we've done an amazing job. So, yeah, it's been a brilliant achievement.
If I can take you guys back to the launch a few weeks ago, which was kind of an invite-only event, but there is leaks and so on, and we saw some people come around from Spain, in particular one person who was doing the Sevilla half marathon or the Sevilla full marathon. He came down. I mean, tell us about the interest there is and the hunger there is for people to want to do parkrun in Gibraltar.
It was incredible that a web page got leaked for about 10 minutes, I think. I think it was erroneously put up on the official
because we had a
parkrun.
cancellation, if you remember. It was the bad weather, so people saw the cancellation and then it went away again. And
so it was a bit like an Apple
needed.
iPhone leak.
Yeah.
It went up, one of the retailers put it up by mistake and then took it down quickly, but that was it. It was out.
Yeah.
It was in Facebook groups and people had spotted it and screenshotted it. And as these guys are saying, it's a thing. A new park run, especially if it's a rumoured new park run, is a thing. and it was, wasn't it? Even though it was unannounced and unadvertised, people had heard and they'd come and they'd travelled.
Yeah. People want to do number 1. So there's a thing called the Wilson Index. And so it's the hardest one to get, is number 1. And so even now I've been watching Facebook pages in the UK and people are trying to hunt down new...
So you got to do the first time a parkrun is happening, you have to do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's an incentive. But it's We had on the second one, we had a couple from England were on holiday in Benidorm, and they rented a car and drove all the way to Gibraltar just to do the second park run.
It's crazy when you hear stories like this of the impact it has, because, of course, I mean, driving down from Benidorm to Gibraltar, they must have driven past plenty of local runs happening in Spain, but it's the power that the name Parkrun carries, isn't it?
It's
And
power
I
of the
think
brand.
also just the draw that Gibraltar has as well. So I've been looking at the comments that are on the Parkrun tourism pages on Facebook that go back probably 7, 8, 9 years. They're all saying, why isn't there a parkrun in Gibraltar? It's a thing. It's out there. And the discussions usually, well, where could they have it? You know, so the fact that Mark has obviously had this ambition and the dogged determination to find a route and a location, and it's just, now it's a phenomenon.
Tell us a bit about the location. Alameda Gardens, spectacular, of course, but doesn't come without its hurdles. I mean, you have to run around there, I think it's 3 times, so quite challenging. Was it a hard sell?
The thing I didn't really envisage was we don't have expansion. So in the UK, you run a park run in a park, it can span out. So if they end up with 1,000 people, they can just sort of span out and just all run everywhere. We don't have that luxury. So it is a bit worrying when you get emails from people saying, we're going to bring down 300 runners, because I just don't know how we'll cope with that situation. So at the moment, we're being open with the community, and the community is being really fair with us and asking us. So we're getting, I mean, how many emails are we getting a week?
I think, well, probably maybe 15, 20.
Our Facebook pages have had over 90,000 views.
I saw the comments after the first video that I posted when I went from a GBC Sports page. I think maybe the Parkrun Gibraltar page shared, and I had hundreds of comments in just a couple of days.
Yeah. But people are asking, because the one thing we do have on our side is there's limited flights. So people are wanting to book. So we have volunteers trying to book up for November and July and planning their summer holidays, and they're asking the right questions. So I think we'll be able to manage, and we'll just have to cater for a massive invasion if it happens. We'll call it Park Walk.
Well, we'll leave part 1 there. We'll carry on the parkrun conversation in part 2. The phenomenon that's taken over the world has now landed in Gibraltar. Welcome back to the Sports Talker. We're talking Parkrun, the global phenomenon that has taken over the world and has now landed here in Gibraltar thanks to the hard effort of Mark Dilo and the volunteers, of course. Mark, tell us a bit about the numbers and how much they've grown over just a few weeks. I mean, the first one was just over around 30 runners. You're now over 100.
Yep. So tomorrow's run 4. We have no idea how many are going to come. It's the unknown. Run 2, we had 79. And run 3, 108, and that felt very comfortable. The really fantastic statistic is we've got 79 new registrations for Parkrun, all local people, and not all of those are out and out runners. There's people that are new to getting out and exercising, so I see that as a success for sport.
That was going to be my next question, actually. How do you encourage this from people that perhaps might be intimidated by the word run? How do you encourage people to come down and motivate them in the sense that you don't have to run it, it's non-competitive, just come down, give it a go and enjoy it?
Well, I think it's exactly that. I mean, every week, we have people who are taking it seriously and really going for it at the front. And then you've got people at the back, and actually one volunteer at least a week is the tail walker, who is at the back behind everyone, so nobody ahead of them is last, because that person is, bringing up the rear and encouraging people going forward. And we seem to now have regular people from Gibraltar who are walking it each week. They don't want to run it, they are walking it. And some people do a mixture, because You know, it has got some nice little slopes, I like to call them.
Nice. Forgiving.
And, you know, it keeps it interesting. You know, it is undulating, let's say, and you know, and that keeps it challenging. But it means that some people may jog down and then they will take the uphill with a nice brisk walk or even a leisurely walk. But it's a walk in the park, literally.
There was a lady who brought her family with her and finished the run, and then walked the final lap with her 97-year-old father who'd come to walk it. He was 97, wasn't he?
Was he?
87.
87.
I was actually going to ask what's been the most rewarding moment you've seen at the finish line.
So
Might that be up
seeing
there?
family running it and then walking their grandparents and parents around it afterwards is quite something.
Yeah.
And this guy had clearly the time of his life. He was loving it, wasn't he? He was loving the attention. And so there's a lot of that. Families coming to do it with varying degrees of... one lady came with her 3 kids, didn't she? Very hassle one week, hadn't had time to get changed. The kids pelted it round, and she came the next week and said, at least I've put my running gear on this week.
Fast kids, yeah, some very fast kids who are running it as well.
A big attraction of Parkrun is that it's free and it's very friendly to everyone. Tell us about how important volunteers are in keeping stuff like this free.
I think it is something that we never get paid for as runners. You know, we're not elites. We don't get the chance to take prize money in races, or not much anyway. And so we're not used to having any money changing hands for our hobby. And so it just feels right to give back without any... There's no thought of it. Running is something you do for fun, and it's a privilege, and there's no money changing hands anywhere. So to volunteer and be on the other side of it, I think is very, very rewarding. I find it rewarding.
I want to ask you, because you're obviously competing in the local Road Runners League and so on, how do you see Parkrun contributing to the local sports scene here in Gibraltar?
Well, I think it's actually quite useful in the sense that, you know, it is a regular... You can use it as a regular time trial. You know, the course is always the same. And if you are running in the league, you know, a 5K, a challenging 5K like this one is, if you're going to push yourself, can really contribute pretty well to your training. You know, there's some decent hills in there if you want to take them at speed safely around some walkers. And so it can be very useful in that respect. So we have seen, you know, some of the fast local runners have taken part. I think we will see more of those as well. And yeah, I think it feeds in quite nicely for that.
Catherine, you do a lot of the admin work. I mean, in terms of numbers, that's tourism for Gibraltar. Tell us a bit about, have you had any communication with hotels, or have you been in touch with the tourism side of things in Gibraltar, and how is that shaping up with so many people wanting to come over?
Interesting point. So we have been reaching out to the local hotels to alert them that what we're doing, and we're trying to make inroads into communicating with them and encourage them. So we do know that there are people who are booking the hotels here. And we're also in touch with the Minister for the Environment and Tourism, so we're looking forward to meeting with him shortly. And generally, I think this is something that we need to really strengthen, is the relationship with the local businesses and the local hotel industry, because there is a huge opportunity here. And so I think it needs to be embraced more than it has been so far, if I'm honest.
Of course, it seems like it's definitely a win-win scenario for everyone.
Yeah.
How do you promote it a little bit better? I know there's some grey lines with businesses and so on, and Parkrun. How do you promote it and keep it all above board?
It is a tricky one, because Parkrun have very strict rules about how we can work with local businesses, because Parkrun have their global sponsors, and they have obviously, you know, large brands that that support them. So locally we can work with people, but we have to be very careful how we do it. So more, it's been a case of Mark and I, as the establishing team, just reaching out to the local business to communicate really. If they would then choose to offer their own sort of maybe discounted rates or something, if someone showed their Parkrun barcode, then that would be up to them, but we wouldn't be able to promote it as such. But obviously there would be an opportunity for them to do it off their own bat if they wanted to.
Mark, this is we were talking off camera that the closest Parkrun to this one is in the Channel Islands. There's no Parkrun in Portugal, Spain, France. Tell us a bit why that is, and how come it hasn't really taken over in some parts of Europe.
Parkrun is is really driven by someone making an application. So Parkrun doesn't go out and really look for countries. It's up for people within those countries to, like what I did, is really come up with a run and make the application, and they consider it. There were parkruns in France. I'm not too sure of the reason why there aren't any more. I'm not too sure of the reason why there aren't any in Spain or Portugal, but I do know that there are running groups, unofficial parkruns, which are usually driven by expats. There's one a couple of hours away, the other side of Malaga. And I'm sure when they see what's going on in Gibraltar, they might be banging on the door of local mayors and what have you and saying, look, we should be doing this as well. And the really important thing is Parkrun does promote well-being and fitness. And in the UK, what they saw after it was started back in 2004 onwards is once the numbers grew, I think it grew to over 100,000 registered runners by 2007. They saw the actual applications for the London Marathon skyrocket.
Wow. Because
all of a sudden people had discovered running, and all of a sudden they wanted to take on something a bit more challenging. And so, yeah.
I think this is the perfect moment to give a shout out to the man that started it all, Paul Simpson Hewitt. What an idea he had. I imagine he would never be able to imagine it taking off this way. I know you've not had a chance to meet him, Mark. I mean, how special would it be to have him doing a parkrun here in Gibraltar?
It would be awesome for him to come down and to take part. But I think he's one of those running heroes now that, you know, you have to respect his privacy. And when he does turn up, I think it's normally in disguise because he does turn up to Christmas runs disguised as a Santa. So maybe we'll see him on Christmas Day.
Hopefully, fingers crossed, fingers crossed. I want to ask about something that's quite religious between runners is coffee shops or coffee stops after the run. I know when the Athletic Association do it, the King's Bastion is right next door. What's become kind of the coffee home?
There's a rivalry there.
Is there?
Because there's the Intervals Cafe in the gardens themselves,
yeah,
which is doing well, but there's also the Fireman's Cafe round the corner, which is also doing well. So I think as these numbers grow, we're going to need both of them, aren't we?
Yeah, yes.
They're both going to benefit. So they're going to get their own. Maybe one will be a local and one will be a tourist one.
Yeah, I think the tourists will be in the intervals.
Although we did hot-footed to the Trafalgar and make it a third one. So
yeah.
Well,
Piccadilly as well. There's Piccadilly on the way.
It's spreading out.
Yeah. I mean, the intervals is fantastic because you've got the fish, the pond, so it's quite. It carries on adding to the attraction of the Alameda Gardens, doesn't it? I want to ask about the volunteers, and if anyone is watching, how can they get involved? How can they get in touch if they want to help out?
Well, we would really be delighted to hear from anyone that wants to volunteer, because that, as we've been saying earlier, is the way this actually happens. It can't happen without the volunteers. So it's a case of asking anyone who regularly runs, if you fancy actually giving back once in a while, please do follow our Facebook page and have a look at our Gibraltar Parkrun website as well, because there's a link there to actually see our roster that's coming up. We do say that there is always space for more volunteers. So even if the roster looks as though it's full, it never is actually full, because we can always take on more people, and we're always delighted to see them. So, we'd encourage anyone who just fancies coming to give back. There's a lady in the UK, for example, one of the runs that we do there. She's always there on a particular corner in her wheelchair, and she's always there in her own personal high-vis vest, cheering everybody on that particular corner. So every Saturday morning, we always run past her, and we're always like waving and saying hi. And I think that's the lovely thing, you know, that you might not be someone that wants to walk or run. Doesn't mean to say you couldn't come along to the Alameda Gardens on Saturday morning and come be part of a really fun crowd. It's a really good, beautiful bunch of people. They're lovely.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Let's talk a bit about growth. We've already seen the numbers go up exponentially over the last few weeks. Where do you see Parkrun Gibraltar in a few years' time, Mark?
It's a very good question. I think what will happen is we'll have an initial peak, and then we'll properly plateau. And I'm thinking that around 200 participants a week would be a comfortable number for the actual route that we've got. And we'll have to obviously cater for those days where we do get a local invasion from people on holiday on the Costa del Sol. Because once the border situation changes, it's going to be a lot easier for people to come in and take part. And so, yeah.
Well, fingers crossed you can handle those invasions when they do happen, which I'm sure they will. Guys, thank you so much for coming along.
Thank you.
To talk
Thank
about
you.
parkrun and telling us all about it. Thank you, Mark. Thank you,
Okay.
Catherine, Faye, Phil. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
If you're wondering what to do with your Saturday mornings, then maybe parkrun is just the thing for you. Alameda Gardens, 9 a.m. start. Don't miss them.